All right, ladies and gentlemen, so you should have done the white layer first. Now you've created a new layer and it's black. You can see that I have it right over here in my layer window all separated. So if I hit the eyeball, I can make each one of those things disappear. You can see what I did on the black one. It was important to notice that I only put black on the dark side. I didn't go particularly dark over here, and I kind of made sure that I used the opacity. I'll go with my brush tool, the opacity and the flow of the brush to kind of create that different sort of level. So again, I think I run those down pretty low to kind of get that soft sort of blended look. So that black layer is all by itself, the white layer is all by itself, shape layer is still over there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding color to this. This technique of starting in black and white goes back to the Renaissance, where artists would use clear glazes of color over top of black and white paintings. That's what created that really smooth, sort of glowing glass surface. And we're going to do the same thing because it's actually how the color pencils work. So what we're going to do is we're going to do clear layers, transparent layers of these colors to create the sort of volume and color depth of the apple. So we're going to, as we've always done, we're going to work from light to dark. So the first color we're going to work with today is going to be yellow. And I'm just going to make this the yellow demo. So I'm going to create a new layer. Once again, that should be right on top, layer one. I'll double click on it. I'm going to call it yellow. I really think that it's good practice to label each one of your layers so you have a good clear picture of which is which. I'm going to grab my brush tool. I'm going to go get my color picker, and I'm not going to guess yellow. I'm just going to copy the yellow right off of here by clicking on the yellow. I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to adjust my brush. Again, I want the opacity pretty low. Guess in that sort of 20 to 30 range. The flow you can mess around with. Now, if you find that it's painting too abruptly for you, or it's like too dramatic or whatever it is like that, realize that you can adjust that flow. So like if the color is coming out, let's say like too fast, like it is right now over here, that's a situation where you can kind of adjust the flow to have a little bit more control over it. The lower the flow, to me, the slower the paint comes out, the more you can build it up over time. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab my eraser and just get rid of all that. Now, again, I want to switch over to my brush. I'm going to get a decent, a little bit bigger than what I was working with on the 15. That looks pretty good to me. I'm going to lower this hardness down to 0%. Again, I want that airbrush kind of quality. I'm going to look at my, shut off my alarm, and I'm going to look to make sure my opacity and flow are in this 20 to 30 range and maybe around 20 or less over here. Now for the yellow, what I want to do is I'm going to sort of come through and I'm going to start adding some yellow to this picture. Now I don't want to overwhelm this bright hot spot, all right, where that's going to be. So if you notice, I didn't quite go over that, but I am slowly but surely adding more color to my apple. Now, since I want to add some yellow through the entire side over here, I'm going to go ahead and now make my brush a little bit bigger. Yeah, and then I'm going to come through and add a little bit more yellow over here. And the more I go over it, clicking and going over it, the more color that comes off. Now, you're going to start noticing that as I'm doing this, it looks like I'm getting rid of all the black. I'm painting it out over there. Not exactly what I want. And I want this layer of yellow to look sort of see-through. So what I'm going to do is add a little bit more yellow up top over there. Let me just finish this off. If you've noticed, what I've done is I put just a little tone of yellow through this side. I put a little bit more in this dark area, and I put a little bit more over here right on the shadow parts. I've kind of left this pretty light, and I left this area pretty light, but you can't really see like an edge around it. I'm going to make my other layers disappear so you can see exactly what I did with the yellow. So you can see in this layer it's all pretty much untouched. Right over here where there's a little bit of highlight, it's untouched. I put a lot of yellow over here and really not too much in on this side. Okay, So that's what we're going for. Now, I also, as I layer these things, I'm still going to paint over all that shading I did before. I don't want that. I want to be able to see through each layer, make it more transparent. So to do that, we're going to go to that yellow layer that I just created, and we're going to switch it from normal to multiply. When I switch it to multiply, you're going to see right away everything looks much, much darker. All right. And that's because what we've done right now is we've made that yellow layer more transparent by doing that. So everything looks a little bit darker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in again now that I'm on multiply, and I'm going to add a little bit more yellow on that layer. Again, you don't have to follow my brush sizes exactly, but you want to have the ability to change from one to the other, and know when to use a big one and a little one. So I'm going to add a little bit more yellow, a lot to the shaded area. Okay, this dark area that I started with black, ultimately I want that to start looking like a color and not just black. So layering the yellow on top of it is really where that's going to happen. So I'm putting a bunch over here, and just putting a touch over there. Again, to sort of reinforce what this yellow layer is going to look like, I'm just going to unclick the other layers so you can see. You can see that the highlighted area doesn't have much color on it. Right over here doesn't have much color on it. The rest of it has a little bit of faded yellow. You can see there's a lot more color here than there is on this side. All right, and that's what we're going for in the yellow layer. I'm just making the other ones disappear so you can see that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make everything reappear again. We obviously know how to get rid of this extra that's outside of the lines. We'll click back on our shape layer. I'll grab my magic wand. I'll say abracadabra. Should select the outside thing. For anyone who is having trouble with that, please send me a message in the chat. I will go from the shape layer 1 back to my yellow layer and then just hit delete. And what you should have is a nice clean layer of yellow. What I want you to do in submitting this one today is the same thing that we've been doing for almost all of them. When you take your screenshot, make sure that you include not just your picture, but your layer window. And what I'm looking for when I look at it is a separate layer of yellow, and I'm looking that you switch it to multiply. That's the only layer right now that's multiply. White and black should be just the way you left it, was just the way you submitted it. Yellow should be on multiply, and again, we're sort of fading in very lightly over here, a little bit more color over there. I'm going to go on to the other parts of the green and how we're going to do them exactly. I'm going to do that next week, so this is just a little sneak peek. Okay, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys have a very happy Thanksgiving, and for those of you who are watching this, bye.